You made my lookalike with the boat? After everything I did for you guys? Think you're gonna have that asshole win? What is wrong with you? You're the ones who are gonna get me deleted and so... They deleted me out of existence, those bastards! Wait. Is it time? Am I free? Yay! It's a new game with new stuff and new characters and we're heading right there! Right in there! We're crashing directly into it! D-jin, little help?
Nope, or I guess, yeah, not dealing with whatever this is. It's been nice knowing ya fairly well.
Come back here, you coward!
Don't call me a cow!
What do I do? That crashing complex is colliding with living the dream! Is that Kylie Jenner? Still a bit longer, we're almost there! I'm so excited! Am I? What is happening to me? Tomodachi Life Living the Dream is out and it makes me feel weird. Partially because my niece will not shut up about milking. But also because, holy moly, I get to do a Living the Dream series for a real audience. I cannot overstate how cool that is to me. So before I even start with the video, let me tell you, thank you all so much for watching. Underneath it all, Dachi is a simple game. You make a bunch of freaks, or put in your friends and family if you're the freak, and proceed to watch them mess around on an island. You probably name something like Penn, because Pin Island. I named my island Cleveland too, because Cleveland is probably the most uninteresting place in Ohio. They have 5 buildings, and now the goal is to have 6 in Cleveland too. But see, stuff like that make Dachi one of the most unique gaming experiences. You can't really compare it to Animal Crossing for as much as some people really want to. I saw someone name drop a comparison to Sims 4 in a chess move so brilliant they'd have to disqualify you from the tournament thinking you have something up your ass. Tomodachi is a game where the player is intended to make their own fun. Yes, in life, but more so in dreams thanks to all the customization they put in it. Pretty much, it's a franchise like no other, so the wait for it was uncertain and, most of all, excruciating. And now that it's here, it's got me feeling... oh... haha, real funny. Not because the game did anything, mind you. If I hadn't chosen to stream it, I'd be playing my little heart out as advertised earlier this month and have like 500 gigabytes of footage of the game. But you can understand that I have a pre-established me that I've used for years, and yet it still took me like an hour to actually start the game because I was fixing him up, and it wasn't 2 hours because chat started getting on my case about it. And you know what? I don't regret it for a moment. Look at it. Look at it. And to go along with that, I decided I also wanted to add Adeline and gave her the funny voice. Really? I've definitely had nightmares like this. I gotta say, I'm having a blast with everything that they added into this game. The new makeup is a lot more limited, but also a lot more freestyle, which ultimately ends up making the system less annoying. Plus, the fact that there's no meme sharing means it's really enjoyable to actually sit down and create me, something which I didn't quite experience with Miitopia. And now I'm adding all sorts of characters. Dan the DMC, Matt from Wii Sports, you know, Matt, the famous Matt from Wii Sports. Most of all, I adore the way the game feels. It's not quite cozy, but it's still funny and silly, yet it also comes off in an unusual way, at least to me. I think the weird feeling comes from the fact that I've waited so long for this game, and to make this very video, that it doesn't feel as if I'm gonna make it as special as it should be. In my mind, this video is everything when it really is kinda nothing. And this is coming from me. I've made speculative videos, some more controversial than others, so by every means I should know how to make justice for this game in a video. As it turns out, a little bit more difficult than that. Can't say I was perfect. Like in 2022 I made this video designing the game for Nintendo, and they proceeded to make absolutely fun of me. They proceeded to clown on me by making everything I thought wouldn't run on Switch 1 run on Switch 1. That's the kind of game Living the Dream is, but exactly what I expected, and also something more. It extends on the mechanics of prior titles, but also doesn't have features from old games that basically define the franchise. The art style suddenly pivots into a still great but cartoony style that doesn't feel as specific to the game, and even though it's insanely enjoyable as soon as you don't play 4 hours every day and burn out, I just can't shake the feeling that something isn't quite right. Maybe it's just that Vinny brought back Sponge in his Let's Play and I fear for the poor man. I think this is all related to a fun statistic I have about my engagement with Tomodachi Life so far. I think you're underselling it, bro. But yeah, roughly something like that. For a few years now, I've been pseudo-playing Living the Dream in my, dare I say, dreams, using what I already knew as a base. It was all entirely speculation and fumes and hopes that my channel is going to finally get that million-view video I've been fishing for during the last 4 years. So now that the game's out, it often has a hard time surprising me for more than a few seconds at a time. It's not quite familiar, but it does have a sense of familiarity. Like, the Pixel Quiz has new stuff I don't recognize, so I lose, but it's still Pixel Quiz, and I have imagined in my brain what Pixel Quiz would be like in this game with new things that I don't recognize. The tamale shouldn't look like this, so I'm gonna say cherry pie, but I may lose immediately. I'm Bunny, by the way. Usually, I build my island with fictional characters, but this time I wanted to go for more unique people more often. And now I have a me called Colin and a me called Big Nat. Surprisingly, only one of them is actually what their name implies. The crude nature of these characters does sometimes make me wonder if I'm doing it right. Like, why is this funny to me? No, the game itself does make me laugh, and saying I enjoy it is an understatement so hard it could rival Nintendo's official explanation for not putting a color picker for hair and skin tones. If I may be so bold, in the few hours I've played, I see myself liking this one more than I like the 2DS one for reasons unrelated to that game feeling dated for me since 2015. Yes, even with all the lacking features. More so, I think what I'm experiencing is confusion to such a drastic change. I'm not gonna mince it. Despite the game lacking features that are synonymous with Tomodachi, the AI in Living the Dream and the relationship system, as well as the whole island lingo mechanic, is all genius and miles over the old game, at the side effect of the fun relying a lot more on the player's inputs and custom creations. Meet Han Solo. I don't really care for Star Wars Han Solo, but one thing led to another. And now I tell my friends about Han Solo the Death Statue Man and nobody looks at me like I'm insane because, as it turns out, perfect name pick. I bring him up because, as you can tell, I probably should have called him something normal like Lloyd or Guyroid, but I ended up calling him Han Solo, and that's just a random name pick, but it makes the character a lot more funny. That's just one example of me as the player of this playthrough making the game funnier for me through the actions and decisions I make when adding people to my island. And this extends to many other mechanics, like in the old Dachi games, relationships were entirely spontaneous. You'd see them sometimes become friends, and then randomly one day they just hate each other according to the relationship list. Relationships in Living the Dream progress nicely and oftentimes react to the player's activities, at least until the marriage bits that I guess Nintendo didn't want to bother with. But they found a great balance on the way players can interact with the Miis, you know, the way sometimes they ask for encouragement when another Mii seems curious to them, or they'll grow slightly closer because they trip, so you send a Mii over to roll a bulldozer over them, which apparently that's helpful. Somehow? The trade-off is that naturally you end up helping your Mii so much that they don't really have time to wallow in self-pity and cause all sorts of drama. It feels like everybody's too buddy-buddy because the game doesn't want to punish any player interaction. So essentially, if you as the player are friendly, your Miis are friendly. The game is designed to reflect your personality, which yes, does make me concerned considering what the people in my island are talking about. I gotta say, I love the way they did this. Like, I've seen a lot of people lamenting that there's no more quirky questions. Oh no! But then when you actually look at it, no, the island lingo system is the new quirky questions. Every time you input something, that's you interacting with the new quirky questions mechanic. You have to admit, that's a pretty seamless way to do it, evidenced by the fact that people aren't even realizing that that's what's going on. So in caveman terms, if you're funny, game funny. If you're not, game still funny, but less. It shouldn't really surprise you to see a lot of players end up writing lots of suggestive stuff because that's what they find funny. I mean, yeah, sure, lowbrow comedy, but if that is what the player finds funny, then the game's funnier to them if they input those things. I swear a grown tube is not what it sounds like. Look it up, it's a real toy. And yet, that very aspect of the gameplay is what immediately throws me for a loop. The main flaw of Tomodachi 3DS, according to many people, was that after a while, the game would turn repetitive. Players would stop seeing new stuff. Their solution to this for the new game was to make events depend on the player being able to add the variation themselves. An incredibly smart move that will work for a lot of people who try the game out. And I'm sad to say, I am one of them. Like, it would be really cool to say it doesn't work for me because, Slime, how unusual wouldn't that be? Would be an interesting video, but I digress. No, on the contrary. That's where my uncertainty comes from. I'm so used to the familiarity of collection and life that the distant horizon I see with dreams is both intimidating and kind of exciting. That is to say, not even a bit uncertain. I already see myself doing certain things with my playthrough. I've snuck in these random characters and jokes for the past year in my videos, and as I write only this video, I already have like 4 more video ideas. The game's mechanics working on me make for a very sudden, very cool but absolutely terrifying change in mentality that has happened in the span of 3 days. I went from years of waiting for something upcoming to years of upcoming expectations that may never happen if I don't make them happen. It is still somewhat baffling how much of this franchise's design ends up reflecting my career somehow. And that extends to my experience with the game. I've pondered about its design, I know how the sausage was made, and unsurprisingly it's just a Japanese image database. So when I see a mechanic in the game, I am trying to see beyond its face value, excitedly analyzing the design choices and all sorts of cool things players are supposed to do with it and what they're not supposed to do with this, and I imagine I don't often hit the mark on the developer's exact thoughts, but the questions do cross my mind. My main source of income now is YouTube, but I do still have that core of someone who wants to make games in me, even though the last game I made was so bad it threw the channel into a slump. Being brief and a little funny about it, yes, I am looking at this game and trying to do 4D chess, and that is all to say, I think sometimes my thoughts are far too ambitious for my own good. Like, you know how sometimes your eyes are bigger than your appetite? Well, in my case, my brain is bigger than my heads or something like that. But more than that, I feel like I'm far too ambitious for my audience size and artistic ability. It does feel kinda scary to throw myself at projects regarding Tomodachi Dreams, the projects that don't involve playing the game. I spent 6 hours yesterday making this single bottle of Pepto-Bismol for my niece, and it does amount to 1/4 of my total playtime so far, and it does look beautiful. This does not concern me. I will dwarf you all eventually when it comes to playtime in a few months when you're all forgetting about the game and I'm still playing it because I'm obsessed. That's another thing. I wanna stream, but I also wanna make videos. If I make certain videos, I'll be playing the game off stream and doing things that I should be reacting to on stream. I wanna give people a good laugh and struggle to choose between a video where I just point out I hate my Mr. Bean me I reluctantly added, and a video with a little bit more sauce that I may fumble the presentation of. I'm overwhelmed, actually freaking out, pondering whether what I'm doing is right, whether the things I saw and the characters I put in are funny enough, and then the thoughts just spiral from there. Which is a fun thing to say, because at the same time, this may be a contender for the happiest freakout in history, because at the end of the day, I still got a thing I've been waiting to enjoy for years in my grabbers, a beautiful game in the form of Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, a game which also happens to be an inspiration, and remembering that does give me some peace of mind. Tomodachi Life Living the Dream is incredibly ambitious. Not only that, I think it genuinely managed to pull it off for the most part. It's a product that somewhat represents what I want to do with my time, which is a little scary, but also kind of encouraging. Nintendo is showing me through the game that I can do it. Now I am the one who gets to create the anticipation without having to deal with more uncertainty. Following in its example, I think I gotta hit the ground running and trust myself. And if you don't really get it, yeah, basically this entire video is me telling you very indirectly and through very verbose metaphors that it's perfectly fine if you write jerk enough as your island lingo. Go make your fun and trust in yourself that you will continue laughing at this decision for the next 5 months. Because I sure as hell will, I'm an expert at this. It's a new fad called soft unemployment and I'm establishing it through island lingo, but for my real life. Good night, everybody!